Spirituality and science are two faces of coin. They are not different. They are not separate. They are two faces of a singular coin. You cannot achieve one without the other. And once you chase clarity, you immediately attract confidence.
And as you said, time is now. So let's get started. Hello and good evening. I'm Ishman Gupta and I'm your host for today's session. This is session number 43 of the Wadhwani Foundation Career Transformation Masterclass Series, the very first session of 2026. So a very happy new year. Thanks for being with us and being the part of this wonderful growing community of Wadhwani Skilling platform. You've been with us and supported us since last 2 years. And in this journey, we've had some speakers from varied backgrounds. Some of them has been from the top academia positions. Some of them have been from top leadership positions in different industries such as retail, manufacturing, automobile, and so on and so forth. From the background of being in HR, to business heads, to people who have been working on the ground. And now this topic couldn't have been better. The topmost skill that is identified to succeed is certainly communication. And today's topic is all about that. How can you use leverage communication to succeed in every aspect of your life? In this session, you'll be receiving some specific tips and tricks, which you will be able to put to implementation immediately, right after the session. And to do that and share the learnings, we have somebody who is just amongst you. His name is Saagnik. He's joining us from the eastern part of the country, Kolkata, and he has just graduated from the program at the George Telegraph Institute, and there he's continued his journey at the institute itself, working as the marketing person in the organization. And apart from that, he is a powerful communicator, storyteller, public speaker, and he has his own podcast series around mental wellness. And with that, Saagnik, I would like to open the floor for you and share what you have prepared with our lovely students. And the students are joining in from around the country and also from Indonesia, Philippines, and Bangladesh. Some of them from Africa as well. So a warm welcome to everybody for tuning in at this hour. So a big thank you for for investing in your own personal growth and development. So we really appreciate you and wish you all the best in this journey of growing and learning together. So having that said, Saagnik, why don't you take this journey ahead?
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're having a good time over here. And congratulations to every one of you who have joined, because you have stepped in for your growth and the journey ahead. I am Saagnik, a marketing professional by day and a podcaster by passion. I speak about certain factors that every one of you definitely have inside you, but oftentimes you don't realize or utilize that. So I would like to start off with a question to every one of you over here. When did you realize that you have been playing small with your potential? For which we have a poll. Shrunk, please. Yes, of course. I would like you to answer the poll. Maybe it's a group discussion, maybe it's a seminar, maybe it was an internship, or maybe you were just out on a date with your crush. Who knows? Maybe it's a presentation. Come on, I want to see your answers.
So Saagnik, do you want to just break down the question as well? For those who may not be able to really grasp or...
Absolutely. At certain times, we realize that we are built for something more. We are not built for this. Maybe you have been asked to tell something in a group discussion and you realize that I cannot speak. I am getting stuck. I am stammering all of a sudden. But I don't stutter. What is the criteria? What is the issue that I'm facing? There has to be certain point. For in my case, what happened actually, it was a debate session back in my school days, not even in college, but I still remember. Why? Because it hit me like a nail inside my chest. It was like I was very, very well prepared. I went there and I was blank. When I received a question back from the opposite team, I was blank all of a sudden. Why? Till date, I do not know the reason. Because I didn't have a strong faith within myself. And that's when I realized I was playing small with my potential. I could be much better. I could be much better. I need to be better. That's the reason, that's the point where we take the step forward, right? Every one of us had that step. Seminar, internship, interview, presentations. Classic. Shrunk, do we see a pattern over here?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
I think that mostly around when one has to interact with public presentation, public
Absolutely.
facing stage, that's where it becomes challenging for most.
Absolutely. Silence, being stuck, that is the pattern we see. This needs to be disrupted first and foremost. And I assume every one of you who are here is there to see growth in life. But let me clear out one thing very first. You won't. You won't get ahead by listening to this webinar, attending thousands of webinars, unless you choose to do. Why? That's what we are going to discuss in a while. You're seeking growth and momentum, right? Momentum is the ability to keep moving forward, right? For which you need two things. That is, first we need awareness. Where are we lacking? What do we lack? Here we can see awareness plus courageous action equals to momentum and growth that we seek for. If you need growth in life, what do you need to do? First, you need to introspect, look into within yourself and figure out what is the main criteria that is holding you back. What is the critical issue that is holding you back? If you haven't truly figured out yourself, who you are, how are you supposed to figure out what is the critical issue? It's impossible. That is why we need awareness that where are we lacking? And with that, we need courageous action to fix that problem. Then comes momentum. That is the ability to keep growing forward, which leads to growth. If we break down the problems in order, it gets much easier, right? So let me ask you one of the most infamous questions of all time in communication. Who are you? Come on. Let's write in the chat box. Who are you? Whatever you have, the presence of yourself, who are you? Name, your profession, anything. In 2 lines, it's okay. If you can fit that in 1 line, it's perfect. Come on, let's see. What do we have here? I am Amarjyoti. Excellent. Santosh. Right. We see multiple answers spreading off. I am Noel, I am Abhishek. We can notice another pattern. Every one of us knows who we are, what we do, how we do, but very few can articulate why we do it. Which brings me to my first and most foundational topic of today's session, the imposter identity. That whispering voice in your ear, in your brain, in your heart, that I do not belong here. Maybe people will judge me. You stay silent. You hesitate to approach. That constant nagging that they will see me through. They will call you bluff. Consider me for this. If I start wondering that I am not prepared enough, I might not perform well, you would start calling me bluff any time now. But let's reframe that, right? In a way that, consider me for a case, for instance. I am not just a podcaster or a speaker. I help people and students communicate because I have seen silence cause their dreams. Silence take away everything. The moment that people had to speak up for themselves, they couldn't. That costed their dreams. That is my why. That is the reason I have chosen this profession. For every one of the barriers, we have an inner shift that we need to remember. What the inner shift is for the imposter syndrome or the identity crisis that we are facing. We need to believe that I am enough today. That I am intentionally choosing to be better every single day. Before anything else, the way you speak to yourself matters the most because that develops the world around you. that creates the surrounding that we have been living in. And everybody wants that to be perfect, right? Who else considers it to be right? Thumbs up in the chat, please. Let's go. Who else wants their life to be perfect? I see lots and lots of thumbs up. Thank you. Yes. What is your imposter phrase? Chat box. Do you feel that who am I to speak up in the initial days of your period? Or sometimes you're stuck in a group discussion, maybe I need to be perfect first, or they will see me through. I'm not good enough. What is your common phrase? We are here to discuss things, right? Let's be very open and honest. That's the reason, that's why we figure out ourselves. That's why we introspect, we look within ourselves, right? Yeah, what is your imposter phrase? I need to be perfect first. Can be it. I need to figure out everything before I speak. I might not speak in this case because I'm nobody else. I'm a very small person. I'm playing small with my potential. What is your imposter phrase? Let's see. What does the chat say? Prang, what did the chat say? A 53% for I need to be perfect first, right, Prang?
Absolutely. More than half feel that they need to do the perfect time, need to get it right.
Absolutely.
Followed by they'll see that I'm not good enough, which is 35%, and
right.
small numbers see that who am I to speak up.
Exactly. For the people voting that I'm not good enough, I've already shared the inner shift that I am good enough today and I am intentionally becoming more and better. But we end up falling in a trap which is known as the perfection paralysis, which is the barrier 2 of our today's webinar. We often want our lives to be perfect. Why? Because we visualize it that way. We often think that I'll only speak when my English is perfect, or if I'm being asked something in a group discussion, in a meeting, or in front of a crush. I'll only speak when I know about that matter. Exactly, when I know everything of the fact that I'm speaking about. No. 80% of the communication is energy and not vocabulary. People do not remember what you said. People remember how you made them feel. So let's rewire our programmed brain in a way, and let's chase clarity before perfection and progress over polish. Let's have exercise first. Let me ask you once again the most infamous questions of all time. Who are you? But before that, before you write anything, I'm giving you 1 minute to think about it. I'll give you 30 seconds to actually process that information, giving you that time to identity shift. Suppose, for example, I'm a developer. What would I say? I develop programs for small businesses that helps in their automation or scalability. With that why factor incorporated within my identity, I am this. If I say I'm an entrepreneur, why do I do this? Because I want to be self-independent, I want to earn money. That's the surface that we are scratching about. But what is the core reason for you to do it? I am a developer because I love to develop. I help people. I solve problems. Who are you? If now you had to say, who are you with that why incorporated in your life, what would you say in about 2 lines? I am a front-end developer. Yes. What do? You design the way people perceive a website. You develop something people have feelings for. The first impression that if I visit a website and you have designed that in such a way which attracts me, which grabs my attention, you're building that thing. You're building a hook. Let me give you an example. Why I'm forcing on why so much. The why in our life has a very clear purpose, and drifting from that why kills motivation even with a good life. Have you heard about Olympic winner Michael Phelps? Shrang, have you heard about it? I assume most of us, because I'm expecting a very Gen Z audience over here, and Gen Zs are very much updated right now due to the AI era and everything. So have you heard that Michael Phelps actually went into depression 1 day after winning the Olympic medal? Why exactly? Because he lost his why. And this is not me telling you, I am just mere podcaster. This is research proving these things. That when we sacrifice a lot for a single burning desire, a singular goal, we end up losing our why. Because we have sacrificed our friends, because we have sacrificed our sleep, we have sacrificed our desires, wants, and demands, every single thing for a singular goal. And if that goal is not rooted enough, if that goal is not strong enough to that core, how will you survive when you've achieved it? When Michael Phelps won that award, that achievement, that Olympic medal, he had no purpose in life anymore. That is the reason he fell in void, the emptiness we have inside us, without a strong why. I hope you receive that. The result is depression in my case. Absolutely. We get into the void, we get empty from inside, we have nothing left. That's the reason we need to embed in ourselves the why. Why do I do this? What is the core reason? What is the sole purpose of me doing this thing?
So, Saagnik, just curious that why do we in particular get negatively influenced by our experiences and forget the positive experiences we've had? So why do negative experiences overshadow our positive experiences?
Actually, in this case, negative does not overshadow the positive influences. But what happens, our mind is generally very negative, right? And we sometimes can feel that a why can be negatively influenced. But in my personal opinion, a why can never be negatively influenced. Because generally, when speaking, we are not inspired to destroy something, but rather build it, right? Now, tragically, unfortunately, fortunately enough, life gives us the opportunity to make decisions that either keep us with who we are or drift away from that. So when you look at from a bigger perspective and not narrow down the vision, I heard I just recalled a very good quote from Jim Carrey, a famous actor we know, right? Is it Jim Carrey or not? I'm not very sure about it. It's a very famous quote that when you look at life from a very narrow perspective, it's a tragedy. But when you look at life from a very wider perspective, it's a comedy. The same happens when we narrow down our things, and it's very common to happen because we have been facing so much troubles, we have been facing so much aggression towards our feelings, we have been so aggressive towards ourselves, we end up losing the positivity. Now many of the audience over here might call me bluff by how is all of your gyan would help me communicate better, we are here for the communication. How many of you think that these 3 points would help you in communication? A thumbs up. And those of you who thinks that these won't help you, a thumbs down, please. I would love to see. Thank you so much. Well, for the ones who don't think that this is useful or this would help in communication, it's okay to think like that. I appreciate your thought process. I absolutely love it. Even if you think that, because I need you to breathe for a moment and remember 3 points I just told you about the perfection paralysis and the identity crisis and the imposter identity. Now imagine yourself incorporating those things in your life and speaking up somewhere, in a meeting, in front of your manager, in a group discussion, in an interview. How would you speak? My friend, you would speak with purpose because you have something inside you. Now you know what you speak, why you speak, and that develops how you speak because you are providing value first, which helps an individual, which helps an identity, right? That is your personality. That whole thing transforms yourself. That is you. Listen. Knowing yourself is not the ultimate, but it is the beginning of your success. You stand out, we want to stand out, every one of us present here wants to stand out. And that's the core reason I'm assuming that every one of us has joined. But tragically enough, when opportunity meets preparation, you don't try to stand out. You simply do. Because all this time, you've been training for this subconsciously, consciously enough, intentionally. All of us send certain signals to the opposite person when we are speaking to them. Here we can see 3 main signals: the clarity signal, the confidence signal, and the competence signal. And what do we mean by that? Absolutely. The first signal that we end up emitting from ourselves, that is the clarity signal. And how do we actually do that? subconsciously it happens, but you can make that intentional change in your words. How exactly? With shortening up your sentences. You make it concise, you make it concrete, and you make it clear. The more shorter it is, the more easier it is for the other person to understand. For how much time do you watch your reels? If it is more than 1 minute, do we? We do not. We just scroll away. Maximum time it's 30 seconds. Best of best 20 to 30 seconds, right? Our attention span has shortened up like anything. When we mix those shorter sentences with direct eye contact and no fidgeting, of course I'm telling you to use hand gestures and everything, but don't fidget. Don't show them that you're nervous enough, because you're rooted, you're grounded to that singular core reason why you are saying this, why you're doing this. And when you have that core inside you, that is the foundational step. You will immediately emit that clarity signal. Of all these techniques, we have first discussed about the imposter syndrome, the imposter identity, and perfection paralysis. That was the foundational step. Before structuring any of the building, what do? We lay the foundation, we lay the beams, we structure the beams. That's what we do. You've been training for this, right? Now when we emit the clarity signal, the other ones immediately comes with that, because that goes parallelly. Once you have the clarity signal, you will definitely have the confidence signal. And what do we mean by confidence signal? One liner in the chat please. What do we understand by hearing the term confidence signal? How do we emit it? Absolutely, we need clarity. Akriti Rawat, absolutely, confidence. Abhishek Sen writes confidence, absolutely. Confidence. What do we mean by confidence signal? Right body language. Thank you. Confidence, of course. Very easy, right? Having confidence while speaking is confidence signal. That's what we generally mean. But if I give you a football and ask you to practice, what would you practice? Do you know where is the goal post? Do you know what is the penalty box? Do you know where do we shoot the free kick from? We do not know. And personally, I don't believe that practice makes a man perfect. I believe a perfect practice makes a man perfect. Where it is right that confidence signal actually emits confidence. But how do you do that? You ask better questions. You ask questions more than you answer. Suppose you're in a group meeting. Suppose you're in a college project. Many of the college students might be here. Suppose you're in a college project and suppose there's a event coming up. For instance, what's the one thing that's slowing our user growth right now? You all of a sudden ask that. That will set you apart. What's the one thing that is slowing our user growth? Comment on that. I have seen students' teams double up signing up by adding on WhatsApp invitations. Giving personal invitations over WhatsApp doubles the amount of students that come in, that gets to your leads and everything. You get up with an answer, you prepare that first, and you ask better questions, which shows that you're interested in that matter, which shows you have value to that project, which shows you have something inside you. That manager, that team leader knows this guy has got something in him, that lady has got something in him. You ask them, want me to test that? What if we test that? What if I fail? Does not matter, but I want to test that because I value the project. I want to send out personal invitations on every student. That shows your confidence by asking better questions, not by just saying anything. The third, the competence signal, which is like you speak like somebody 3 years ahead of your age. Apart from saying that I kind of work on Excel, I have a good grip over Excel, I know the AI tools and integration of AI in multiple tools, you just simply say, I can integrate AI in my Excel which can handle 10,000 rows in about 2 minutes. You give the solution so that the manager knows this guy is speaking what he's talking about. This guy knows what he's speaking about. This lady has got something in him, in her. From how many times have we seen students fearing that what if I say and if I be judged on this basis, right? You've seen multiple
Yeah.
students like this. And
All the
once
time,
if a
yes,
student-
that's the biggest concern.
Absolutely. Exactly that happens in every one of the interviews. If suppose I am a developer and I know Python, instead of saying that I'm very good at Python, Trung, if you're taking an interview of me, for example, and I come to you and I just say that I'm very good at Python, please select me. Would you do that?
No, because I wouldn't have any proof or any kind of a validation of the fact that
Exactly. But if I now tell you that my Python script cuts processing time by about 40 minutes, what is your biggest bottleneck? I ask you that. What is your biggest bottleneck? What is the area that is your flow getting stuck? Would I have a different example? Would I have a different impression of myself?
absolutely bang on, yes.
That's the reason. That sets you apart. You speak like somebody 3 years ahead of your age by giving that solution and asking at the same time asking a better question. What is your biggest bottleneck? Bottleneck is a very famous thing that happens in every one of the business. That is, whenever the business is growing at a certain pace, some of the portion gets stuck. Maybe it's a scalability, maybe it's a projection, maybe it's a series that we are trying to launch, maybe it's a new product that is not launching. You ask them, what is your biggest bottleneck? My solution can help you. My solution can cut the processing time by 40%. That's up to you. And with that, but if I tell you the same thing, Shrunk, that my Python script cuts processing time by 40%, what is your biggest bottleneck? At the same time, even if I say this, I would have a different impression. I'll call you later. Go back. You can have your time. Right? Go have some tea. Right, exactly. This is why the energy is important. Brings me to the next tactic of the communication, the energy audit. Here we train our nervous system to communicate under pressure. How many of us has played PUBG before? Have you heard about PUBG? Strong, have you heard about PUBG? A very
Yeah, I
famous
played a few
game.
times.
Yeah, even I played that. It was a fantastic game. How many of us has played PUBG? Never played. That's right. That's fine. Have you heard about PUBG? Have you played PUBG? Free Fire? Any of the games? Yes, exactly. Yes. Oh, daily. Pavan Kumar plays it daily. You might be a huge fan of the game, I believe. Heard but never played. Yes. Free Fire, PUBG. Yes. Any of the battle royale games. So I need to think of PUBG before. I need you to think of it. Think of a match when your phone is at 20%. When your battery is drained about 20% and you're running that on power saving mode. What would have happened? Could you play that on 90 FPS? I assume not. We needed to bring that down to 45 FPS. And we could not hit that chicken dinner. The phone lagged. The game lagged. This is what exactly happens to your interviews when you do not charge yourself. There's a specific way through which you can charge yourself. Somebody's liking Free Fire. That's great. But do you absorb your surroundings? When you played PUBG, your phone wasn't performing well. Why? Because it was not charged up to the 100%. But when you charge your body to the 100%, you can perform better. And how exactly you do that? It's a very, very easy process, and everybody of us can do that by a simple technique every night before you go to sleep. Do a body scan, a voice battery. I'm talking about the voice battery. How do you sound to record your audio? Just a 1-minute audio. That's it. How do you sound? Do you sound like you just ran 100 meters? If yes, I did. I took a lot of breath while speaking. I stopped certain somewheres. But why? Because I was not confident enough. I was not prepared enough. For which I was not composed enough. For which I need you to breathe for about 4 seconds. You breathe in for 4 seconds, then you hold it for another 3 seconds, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. You hold it for another 3 seconds, 5, 6, 7, and then you let it out. 8, 9, 10. You do that 5 times. 5 times. You sound like you have done 50 interviews. You don't trust me? Try it now. Try it anytime. You're calm, you're composed, you're controlled. You are in charge of yourself. That's how you recharge your body. This was for the voice process. And what if my body is not working enough? Do I look like I'm hiding from something? Do I look like I'm crouching? Do I look like I'm running away from something? Somebody's coming to hit me. I don't want to be visible. How are you supposed to get selected if you do like this? You stand up, you stand in a victory pose that Olympic winners do after getting that medal. Hands on your hips, and you struck that pose. That helps. Go to the washroom before an interview and hit that pose. Visualize that you have already gotten that job, you've already cracked it. That's how you actually manipulate your brain into thinking that you have done better. That's a hack. That's a mental hack. That's a voice clarity. That's a body clarity. And that's how you charge yourself. Like you charge your phone before the gaming session at every night. Visualization. Absolutely. You need to manifest. Absolutely. I need to manifest before I'm even entering into that. Right. Abhishek said, that's great, you will. Good to hear that. Thank you. What is the chat saying, Shrang? Can we have any of the questions and comments from there before we jump into the best tactics?
Yeah, we have quite a few wonderful visual board by Dipanshu with some really nice happy emojis and some fireworks.
Some questions please from there.
Absolutely. Before I jump onto the question, do you want me to ask the last poll question that you had compiled for the students?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to have that. Yes, absolutely.
Sure. So the question says that, and this question is for all of you, and I, which is of each of you, have given an interview or will be appearing for one. So you have to choose either of these options. Last 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and we have the results now. Right,
it's a tie. Come on, it's a tie. I've given it to you. It's a mixed audience. I know Gen Z is very smart and adaptive. That's the thing you got to remember. So whatever the case is. Yes, exactly.
Still, little more than a half will be appearing for one. So let's consider the fact that they're preparing for interviews. Majority of them.
Absolutely.
But then,
absolutely,
quite a few are already experienced.
Absolutely. Considering the point that most of you will be appearing for the interview, there's a hack, 3-way hack to be better at communications instantly. Which brings me to my last point of today's webinar. That is, record and review. How simple does it sound, right? Trust me, it's not. It's gonna hurt you like nail in your chest. By record and watch, I mean record any script that you have. A 1-minute script. Maybe it's a vacation that you went. Maybe it's a real preparation for your interview. Maybe it could be anything. But record that 1-minute video of yours that you're giving your best and keep it aside. You don't need to review that instantly or on the same day. Because our mind is very negatively influenced towards our emotions, towards our validations, towards our expressions and everything. You'll defame that image. You visit that 24 hours later, just 1 day later. You turn off the screen, you turn up the volume and listen to that. That becomes your vocal image. How do you speak? What is your pronunciation? How is your enunciation? How do you articulate things? Are you being able to explain rather than being impressive? Are you being able to be expressive? Is the other person understanding what you're trying to say? Listen to that and be vulnerable, be very brutal towards the result. That's how you learn about your vocal image. Now I want you to apply the second option. I am from India. Yes, I am from India. I am from India, Kolkata. Second option is turning off the audio and only visualizing and only looking at your visuals. That becomes your body image. That is your visual image. You turn up the volume, turn down the volume, and you crank up the brightness. Now you see what do you look like? What are your gestures? How are you expressing? What are you saying? How do you say that? How much do you open your mouth? How much you do not? How do you move That basically is what you are. And you correct that every day. Reviewing that vocal image, you correct what you need to do. Review that physical image, body language, correct that what you need to do. And the third one, which is gonna hurt you the most, transcribe the video. What do I mean? Write down whatever you say. Whatever. My name is Saagnik. I am a podcaster. Every single thing I need you to write down. Once you have a script about 300, 350 words in about 1 minute or so, you cancel out the filler words. That is I, E, every single thing. And the rest, anything that you're left with is basically a mirror of yourself. You have your vocal image, you have your physical image, you remove the filler words. You have a mirror of yourself. This is who you are. This is what you need to work on. Everything else, what else do you need? But yes, I might tell you this beforehand, that once you start doing this, there's no going back, and you might feel very awkward doing this. Because when you start fixing those issues, you might feel like being phony, fake. But trust me, you're not. You're just unfamiliar with the change that is happening to you. And be very, very comfortable with being uncomfortable. Trung, do we have any questions from the chat?
Absolutely. We have quite a few, but then a big round of applause for this really powerful presentation, Saagnik. I couldn't have imagined a better start to this new year. And to accolade quite a few points that you said about the entire episode, first one that stood out for me was finding your own purpose. Start with the why.
I have a recap as well. Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. Second thing was about really articulating with clarity, then stepping into confidence, and then building that into being competent. So a very lovely framework and a step-by-step approach. So couldn't have thanked you enough for compiling this. And I think that
it is always a pleasure.
Yeah, and the kind of positive responses I've seen so far, I'm totally moved. And compiling all this, so much of knowledge, so much of thoughtfulness in just 40 minutes, no one could have done better than than you, Saagnik. So thank you again.
I'm honored. Thank you, Wadhwani Foundation, for having me in this webinar session, for bringing such a lovely audience.
Yeah, and an amazing audience today. They're really participating in the best spirits, contributing. So a big shout out to all of you. Thank you so much for being such wonderful participants. So can I take a few questions now?
Absolutely. But shall we get into the recap first before this? For
sure,
the audience as well.
Let's do that. So in case you've missed out some points or have skipped paying attention, this is the time. The final powerful message coming in from Saagnik. So tune in with all your attention, pen and paper, have it handy, or if not, take mental notes. So let's get started again.
What we first did over here was the pattern recognition. You need to understand the pattern you've been going through every day, each day. You need to introspect, you need to look within yourselves to find out that flaws, which is silence. Why do you get silence? Because you don't have a strong why. You don't have a strong core reason why you speak up every day. Which is, how do you solve it? Awareness plus courageous action. When we mix both of them, that leads to growth and momentum. That is the ability to keep growing forward. Then we did the identity exercises. You reshift your identity from what you are in a line with incorporating that why in your life and saying, I do this because it provides immense value to a corporation, to identity, to somebody else. Then we dealt with perfection paralysis, where one thing to keep in mind always, that 80% of your communication is energy and not what you say. So what do? We chase clarity over perfection and progress over polish. We don't try to impress others. We express ourselves to the best of our ability. And that's it. The standout signals that we spoke about, the clarity signal, the confidence signal, and the competence signal. The clarity ones, where we speak in short, concrete, and concise way, with a very steady eye contact with the manager, with the other person you're speaking to, which also leads to the confidence. And how you do that? By asking better questions. You ask certain questions which values the company, which values the project you're acting on. That shows your confidence. Then we move on to the competence signal. You speak with value providation. Whenever you speak, you make them understand that you are somebody. You have got the core reason. You know what you're talking about. You know why you are talking about. Right? You ask better questions. You provide a better value. You provide a better solution. Then we do the energy audit. Any of this would not matter unless you're highly charged. Unlike the 20% battery while playing PUBG, right? 90% remembers how you feel and no one else. The other way is 3 communication tactics: record and review. Once you have recorded in a manner that is 1 minute video, you visualize that video in a physical form without the voice. Once you have a visual appearance of yourself, then you turn off the visual and you just listen to the audio itself. And then you transcribe them. And then you just cancel out every filler words. And that's how you change. But remember, apart from all of this is a very personal thing that I want to share with every one of you. Your personality is what you do repeatedly under fear. The moment you stop playing small is the moment you start speaking. Choose courage, choose clarity, choose consistency. That was all from my side.
Thank you so much. Quickly jumping on to the questions.
Absolutely.
We have this repeated question by an anonymous attendee, and I would like to read as this. There's always this anxiousness stuck in my mind that even if I've started now, I'm too late compared to everyone, and I have wasted too much time. Starting anything new is difficult, but even after starting, there is always this fear that nothing will change now. How should we come over this anxiety? I'm in second year right now.
You're in second year and asking yourself this question. Kudos, man. But have you heard of the saying that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is now? It is very good that you have realized it so far. Your best time is now. You couldn't have acted any better than this. And congratulations that you've introspected yourself and you've figured this out, that you need to do something. And trust me, mate, you're not late enough. Try that out. Start that YouTube journey, start that interview, go pitch yourself, start that business, anything you want to do. This is your time. This is your time.
Brilliant. Couldn't have been a better way to address this slightly complex question, but yes, I think that person who's asking this is coming with a lot of maturity, and this is that first step in terms of opening up, seeking help, and getting your queries addressed. And as you said, the time is now, so let's get started. The next one that I have is from Noel, and the asking is communication more about clarity or confidence?
You know what Swami Vivekananda said? Spirituality and science are the 2 faces of coin. They are not different. They are not separate. They are 2 faces of a singular coin. And what are you asking, that confidence or clarity? Both goes parallelly. Those are the 2 faces of a coin. You cannot achieve one without the other. And once you chase clarity, you immediately attract confidence. Because when you're confident enough, you speak with clarity. And once you chase down your why do you need to say anything about this? Why do you need to act upon this? You figure out everything else. Once you try it, then answer it. I hope that helps.
Lovely. And maybe not directly related, or maybe slightly, but then Dipanshu, who is also one of the active participants, is asking that how can they get an internship out of the skilling platform. So maybe in a nutshell, that how can they get their first job opportunity or internship opportunity that they are wanting to get?
The person reciting this question, I believe that he's the best person to answer all of this. And with Madam in the webinar, I don't believe I am competent enough to answer any of these. Ma'am, would you please?
Hey, thank you, Saagnik. Shrang, I think you should give the guidance over here.
Thank you, if you may allow. Thank you. So I'll address this in Hindi first, since Dipanshu has been asking us to respond in Hindi. तो दीपांशु, इस बारे में हमने बहुत सारे सेशन किए हैं कि कैसे आप इंटरव्यू के लिए प्रिपेयर कर सकते हैं अपने आप को. तो आप पुराने सेशंस को एक बार जाके सुनिए. तो हमने हमारे बहुत सारे सेशंस हैं, लेकिन सबसे पहले एक अपना अच्छा रिज्यूमे बनाइए, नेटवर्किंग करिए, और फाइनली आप जो इंटरव्यू है उसकी तैयारी अच्छे से करिए. तो इन 3 चीज़ों को आप करेंगे तो आप जो अपनी इंटर्नशिप है, जो आप हासिल करना चाह रहे हैं जिस क्षेत्र में, वो आप कर पाएंगे. तो 3 चीज़ें करनी है. एक बहुत अच्छा रिज्यूमे बनाना है. आपको जो इस क्षेत्र में इंटर्नशिप पाना चाहते हैं उन लोगों से संपर्क करिए, आप पे नेटवर्किंग करिए, और तीसरा इंटरव्यू की तैयारी करिए. और तैयारी करने के लिए वाधवानी में आपका AI बेस्ड मॉडल है, अलग अलग मेंटोर्स हैं, तो वहाँ से भी कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं आप. नेटवर्किंग भी आप करियर बडी प्लेटफॉर्म से कर सकते हैं, जहाँ पे बहुत सारे हम जैसे अलग अलग यहाँ पे मेंटोर्स अवेलेबल है, सीनियर्स अवेलेबल हैं. तो आपको निश्चित ही इंटर्नशिप मिल जाएगी. सो इन अ नटशेल, टू गेट अ जॉब और एन इंटर्नशिप, यू फर्स्ट नीड टू क्रिएट अ स्टेलर रिज्यूमे. Second, network with the professionals who are in the field of your area, and then finally practice. And as Saagnik said, that not just practice, but then practice with perfection.
Perfect.
I think absolutely. So that's how you'll be able to nail that job offer or the internship. And finally, the power of visualization is also is very powerful. I've done that a few times myself to get the dream job that I've always wanted. I do it every time I'm sitting for an interview or making an application early on. So, and it has always worked. So, yeah, in a nutshell. But thank you for allowing me to share my opinion. Saagnik, though this was your show, but then thanks for your invitation.
Absolutely, it's our show.
Right. I think we've had a few questions, but in a nutshell, we've addressed most of them. So now, and we're also close to the time that we were allocated. So now I would allow our leader here, Lily Kulkarni, who was the brain behind starting this entire masterclass series and has been that guiding factor. In fact, she is the person who connected Saagnik to us. So really grateful. And also so many other speakers. She's the one curating the content and making sure that we are able to deliver the finest talent, the finest topics to all our wonderful student community. So Lily, some final words from you, and then we can close the session.
Thank you so much, Shrang. Good evening, everyone. Hey, Saagnik. So it is
Good evening,
a
ma'am.
very proud moment for me. And I'm really happy that you are a part of this session today.
I'm highly
And I
honored.
in fact, I was little late to join the session, but I thoroughly enjoyed this. This was one of the best sessions which I have attended till date. And I would like to appreciate your ability to connect with the audience with so much of simplicity, and you brought in so many concepts, career concepts, and shared practical real life insights that has made the session highly relatable and inspiring. So I think one other thing is the strong emphasis on communication, confidence, and continuous growth. This would have really resonated with the participants, and this also showed up in some of the questions. And I wish you will be part of our further sessions also during this year. And Shrang will be in touch. Thank you so much. And Shipra, I would request if you can please do the vote of thanks.
Yes, thank you so much, Lily and Shrang. Saagnik, to begin with, I would like to say you got a fan in me, and I was really, really excited, and now I'm mesmerized by the session, the approach, the energy, articulation, everything was so marvelous that I think I don't have words to express how well it went. I'm really glad that you have joined us as a part of the masterclass series, and your way of connecting with the audience, especially the examples, PUBG, battery, those things which someone can relate to, reels and Instagram and all that. That was really marvelous. And I'm very, very thankful. I would like to thank you again on behalf of Wadhwani Foundation. Shrang, thanks to you and Lily, you as well, for bringing Saagnik in. Arya, Nitya, thanks to you also. Thank you.
By the way, Saagnik, you may be wondering who... Yes, please, Lily.
So Saagnik, Shipra is our master trainer, the senior most master trainer in our team.
So nice to meet
And-
you. So nice to meet you.
And you have impressed her.
I'm honored. All thanks to you, ma'am, for the guiding light on the first place.
Most welcome, Saagnik. Thanks to you, Shrang, for leading all these sessions and making every time the sessions, you never feel like these are some monotonous sessions or something. Every time something new, and you bring in so much of life into these sessions. Thank you once again, Shrang.
Thank you so much. And Saagnik, I've been struggling myself till date to impress and probably qualify in front of Shipra, but then you've done it in the first go.
Strung was one of the best friends that I've ever had in this couple of days. Like, he's been of immense help regarding the preparation, regarding the polls, regarding the questions and everything. We have discussed so much. He's been of immense help. I cannot just verify that.
I totally second that, Saagnik.
Yeah, it just feels warm.
Thank you, Shrang. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Forever.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
a quick reminder to everybody who's tuning in, Saagnik has his YouTube channel. He's also on LinkedIn. So, do take this opportunity to be a part of his network. Follow him on wherever channel you can, and he'll be kind enough to accept your request. So, do be a part of his community. And also, we have a short feedback that will pop up on your screen as you exit the session. And any positive comment will motivate us. So remember that 5 is for the best rating and 1 is for poor. So feel free to share whatever you experienced. If you've gained anything meaningful today, any positive rating would always inspire us or encourage us. So, and we'll be also looking for additional improvements in terms of what we can do in the future sessions, in terms of the topics, speakers. We'll be keeping an eye and working. So whatever the session we've been able to deliver has been closely hearing what you've done in the past. So thanks a lot for all your contribution, support, and for being with us. Really, I think that we wouldn't have been here without the support of our lovely audience who've been with us every single week, relentlessly cheering, supporting, and always encouraging us with some wonderful feedback. So a big shout out to all of you as well for tuning in at this late hour as well.
Absolutely. That's a must say.